Welcome everyone. Welcome to this week's Transformation Thursday. And I am just so excited for this week's topic. Can you hear me? Can you hear me
Yes.
okay? Okay, great. I am so excited for this week's discussion. Um, this week 167, our tantalizing topic is walking between realms. And our speaker is Miss Norka Arrington. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Norka Arrington Johnson. My name is Norka Arrington Johnson. I, um, like in my bio, I'm a mom of two sons, a mom of two daughters, a grandmother of two grandsons, a grandmother of two daughters. Um, I am a magical person. I've been blessed and chosen by the ancestors to be able to do a lot of things. And tonight I'm going to talk about one of them, well, maybe two because they go hand in hand, but it's about walking through realms. Just let me know when I can get started because I just want to jump in and.
Yeah, I just want to make one quick thing. I think it had someone with a 915 number. Now, is it possible to just put a name? I just had to be a bit protected because a couple of months ago someone
Okay.
shared some very
Uh,
adult content.
okay, that's my Kimmy. I think that's my daughter. Kimmy, can you put your name up there?
It's a 915 two six
Yeah, that's my
nine one
daughter.
nine. Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
can
my
take
daughter.
your word for it. Yeah, I'm just trying to be very protective
Oh, of course.
now. Okay. Um, so I don't really, interview. I like our speaker to just share their story because that's what's so captivating.
Okay.
Yeah, so please just share a story. And what does it mean to walk between realms?
Okay. So again, my name is Norka. I'm thankful to our host and the ancestors for allowing me to speak to y'all tonight. I'm very grateful to have this space because some of the things that I'm talking about tonight are not things that you can bring up in regular conversation. People will shut you down immediately. And while I'm talking here, I love questions, even if I don't know the answers to them. So and there's no question too crazy or stupid or anything. Ask me anything. Um, just feel free to reach out to me now and then after this. Um, I'm going to be talking about walking through realms. I'm also more of a storyteller than I am, speaking. But I want to share my experiences and my gifts. And before I start really sharing, there are no right or wrong ways to go about this. So the things that I'm sharing with you, they may resonate and they may not. Either way is perfectly fine. It's just my hope that when we leave here, we'll have new. I'll learn some things, you'll learn some things, and we'll share some things. Maybe we can research, talk about it later, or on our own. So I do like the title of the talk because it says walking through realms because um, I I think that everybody has a different idea of what that means, and I want you to ask yourself before this, with your belief system, how do you view different realms? Is it good? Is it evil? Is it light? Is it dark? Like, what does that mean to you? Um, to me, it's light, dark, and life and death. So when I say walking through realms, or better yet, I guess a better way for me to explain what I do, I can just seamlessly go between the two. So I've been gifted to seamlessly go between the two. You have some people um, that can talk to the dead, speak to the ancestors, and receive their messages that way only. And then you have other people that are here, in the flesh. Let's say in the flesh a lot, in the flesh, and they can they're prophets. They can tell you things about yourself. They can guide you through things. So I'm the person that's in between. I'm the person that's in between. Like I said in the bio, I'm a death doula and a mind, body, soul practitioner. And how these two things relate is that as a death doula, the general term when you hear death doula, this is a person that works with you from the beginning to the end. So whether you're sick or not, but usually people that are terminally ill, and we help with the legacy planning, the funeral arrangements, the will, and all that stuff, right? As well as when somebody is in their last days in hospice, we go and we sit with them, during that time and just communicate the needs of the person that's passing away to the family. Because, when somebody is in the active stage of dying or they're terminal, when you find out there's nothing you can do, people are very selfish, not on purpose. It's like this is your friend, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, whoever it is, and you want them to stay as long as possible, and you kind of push your ideals on them. Like when you get to the stage where they're not eating and drinking anymore, because we don't know what's going on, we get upset and we want them to eat and drink, and we get mad, angry, frustrated. But in reality, they don't need to do that anymore. Their body is shutting down. They don't need to do it anymore. So that's part of the death doula thing. Now,
She's a death doula. Yeah. Death
for
doula. Death
me, oh, go ahead.
doula.
Right. So now with me, that's how I started. That's how I started. But then as time went by, I started to pick up on other things. I started to pick up on um, people that were dying that didn't want to die. They weren't ready to go. And there were some people that wanted to go, but it wasn't their time. And that was kind of crazy to me because I'm like, am I really hearing what I'm hearing? Am I really hearing what I'm hearing? So I was hearing something completely different. I was hearing there was an incident a few years ago where there was a young lady, she was shot in the head, and it took a long time for the paramedics to get to her and everything. Like she was not expected to live, but they got her to the hospital and everything. Now I know this young lady. I know this young lady from a child. I'm way older than her, but I knew her. I didn't have a personal connection to her, but of course I was affected by it because it happened like maybe 20 feet away from me. So I actually saw it happen. During the time that she was fighting for her life, I had a moment where I'd be sitting there and I could hear her talking to me. And she said she was tired. She wanted to move on. Her grandfather was on the other side, her aunts, her uncles, her grandmother, all these people were over there and she wanted to go with them because it was comforting. The only thing was is that the ancestors were saying this is not your time to go. So like, what am I supposed to do? This is my first time hearing this. I don't know. I know that I'm supposed to help people cross over, but I have not been in the space where I'm hearing from everybody at once. It's like I'm in the middle of an argument. So once I sat down, and again, I'm heavily involved with the ancestors. I don't make a move until they tell me to. So I sat with myself and them, and they told me that she couldn't go. So I had to go to her. This happened on Juneteenth, actually. This happened on Juneteenth of that year. And it took me from June 19th all the way to the end of August to get her back. So it was like trying to push a brick wall. That's what it felt like. And because I was new at that, it was draining me. I was spending more time on that side than I was on this side, and it started to affect me at work. I had just started a new job. I was just not myself. And I have this thing where when I'm receiving downloads from the ancestors, it gets to be a lot because you hear it coming from them and then you hear the outside world at the same time. So I cover my head. I wear a head wrap. So when I wear a head wrap, what that does is it keeps everything out except for what the ancestors are saying to me. Because I cannot go in the type of hibernation that I would need to do that is not possible to do and still be able to function in daily life. So that was something I had to learn. I was tired. I looked like I was dying, basically. Like the life was being drained out of me because unbeknowingly, I was I was over there too long. It's like you can't stay over there too long. You there has to be a balance. But again, I didn't know what was happening, so I was staying over there too long, and I got tired. I recorded that. I made a video about that particular experience. But as time went by, and I learned that I'm not dead. I can go between the realms, but I'm not dead. And that's a message for everybody. When somebody passes away that we love, when we say a part of us died, it actually feels like that. It actually feels like that because they're not here anymore and you want to be where they are so bad that a part of you goes there and it sits there. And that's why you can't function here. But you have to learn that you have to give them the, when they get to the other side, you have to give them the space and the time to even process that it happened. Give them time to process that it happened. Um, and you can visit them if you have the gift of doing that, you can visit them, but you can't say. You have to give them a chance to visit you too. You know, because you want to see that you get to see that they're okay. You get to see them in different ways. However, your whatever your spirit wants you to see, that's how you'll see it. You know, and so you get to see them being peaceful, and then they get to come and see you being peaceful. Do you want your mother or your father to see you laying all out and dragging and stuff when they didn't want to leave you in the first place? They didn't want to leave. When somebody is passing away from cancer, heart disease, or whatever, parents don't want to leave their children. And there's something that tells them before they go that you're going to be okay. But when they come to see you and you're not okay, their souls cannot, their spirits, they can't rest. They can't rest because you're not resting. And I learned that in that way too. So that was the first experience that I had with that, but it still took a little while for me to understand that I was able to do that. And I'll go back a little further. The way that I learned that something was different was that now my parents in 2016 they passed away 7 months apart. My dad had cancer. He passed away February 21st, and my mother passed away September 10th, and she had a congestive heart failure. Um, During that time, I had to keep it together, right? Because I went from being the oldest child of two, spoiled, to being the head of my family, plus have 4 children and a full-time job. And I had to take care of them. So I went to work 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. I took care of my 4 children because they were all still in school at the time. And I still went to the nursing home to see my mother every day and to the hospital to see my dad. I did everything. My oldest daughter, she went to my dad's chemo and blood transfusions when I couldn't go, but I was doing everything else. And I don't drive. So I was catching about 13 buses, almost 13 buses a day, just trying to get that done. So during that time, I'm trying to bargain. I'm like, listen, y'all are taking everything away from me. What can I do to keep them here? And because I had learned about the ancestors from my parents, I'm like, okay, then they told me about, so I have a hoodoo and a voodoo background. They kind of go hand in hand for me. And so it's like when you talk about voodoo, you have Papa Legba. He's at the gate, and he's the one that lets you in. And so it wasn't enough. I was so desperate and so hurt at the time that it wasn't enough for me to just go to the gate and ask Papa to let me in. I was like, listen, I need extraordinary supernatural help. So please allow me to go all the way to the back. I want to be around the most powerful ancestors because what I'm going through is not normal. It wasn't normal to me anyway. I don't want to say anything to them. I don't want to disturb them in any way. Just let me sit at their feet. Let me sit right in the middle of them. Let me sit at their feet and just let me absorb whatever the overflow they have. Just let me have it. And whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. But I can't be on the other side of the gate by myself because everything around me is falling apart. And I was able to go through. So I was able to go behind the veil, and I didn't understand what I was asking. So once I got back there, I was bargaining. I'm like, okay, well, if I do this, then my dad will live a little longer. If I do that, my mom will live a little longer. That worked. Whether that's delusion or not, it worked for me, right? It worked for me. So when it got around this time, my dad was really, really suffering. And I'm looking at him, and it got to the point where he didn't want to do anything unless I was involved. So even though he had medication to take and everything, he wouldn't take it until I got home. He refused to eat or anything. So I was sitting there looking at him and I'm thinking, am I keeping him here? Am I keeping him here? Is he holding on for me? Because he's suffering. He's really suffering. And I made the choice February 7th, February 7th, that if y'all was the reason that my dad was still here, I gotta let him go. And a week later, on Valentine, well, the 17th is when he went to the hospital for the last time. And when I got to spend time with him after we had to take him off of the ventilator, when I got to spend time with him, he thanked me for letting him go. Because he didn't think that I would be able to, he didn't think that I could continue to go without him here. And that was very, I felt bad because I'm like, I'm holding him here and you know, he needed to go. And that was my dad. I eventually felt relieved. And then when we get down to my mom a few months later, she was doing the same thing. Like she was holding on. She would tell me, I love you. I love my children. I love my grandchildren. But my mother and father had been together for 50 years. And she didn't know life. He was her first everything. She didn't know life without him. And she didn't want to live life without him. And she was ready to go. And I wasn't ready to let her go. A, because she's my mama, but B, who do I have left? Because my grandparents, like I didn't have any elders. If my mother was the last elder I had. So why would I want to let her go? And she ended up telling me the day before she died, she's like, you're an adult. You've done the work. You have the ancestors. You can take care of yourself. You don't need me. You don't need me. And she went to the hospital and then that was it. And after they passed away, I had moments where I saw them, I was able to go to see them where they were. I was able to go to see them where they were, to see that they were okay, to let them know that I was okay and for them to let me know that they were okay. So and so you have that too. And with that, that made me become a death doula because I wanted to help other people in that way. I want to help other people in that way, in the spiritual sense, because you don't know what people are going through when they're passing away. And to have somebody understand what you're going through, where you're going, and sometimes to get the okay. Because when I was working with people, I work with more people giving them the okay or telling them that they weren't going anywhere. And if you ask me which one has been harder, it's harder to tell somebody it's not time for them to go when they're ready to go. It's harder to tell someone that they cannot go when it's time for them to go, for different reasons. It's hard to tell them for different reasons because there are some people that have things to pay for. There are some people that cannot leave because they were not great people and they need to stick around and they need to suffer. And I have to tell somebody that. So it was very hard. That was really hard. It got to be pretty stressful. And I'm thankful that that part of what I do is dormant right now. It's not gone, but it's dormant. It's like it was too overwhelming for me. I asked for it to either be taken away or for it to be dormant. So I see that I can still do it, but it's dormant. It's been dormant. And then that takes us over to the mind body. It takes us over to the mind body practitioner part. It takes over to the mind body practitioner part. With the mind body practitioner part, I'm able to do the same thing and not have it be draining. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so then you move on to the mind body practitioner part. This enables me to still do what I'm doing, but it's not as taxing on the mind and on the body. So when you come to the mind body soul practitioner part, um, I'm sorry. Goodness gracious, I apologize. So anyway,
No problem.
when you come to the mind body, um, I'm sorry. Let me see. Okay, I'm sorry. I have it on closed caption and I'm seeing old stuff. I apologize. But when you get to that part of everything, um, goodness. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, no
Um,
problem.
I'm still at work. I'm still at work. I'm sorry. But at any rate, when you get to that part, the mind body practitioner part, when you go to that part, what that enables me to do is still be able to do the same thing, but feel like I'm doing more of a service. It's very draining to deal with people on that side only, to deal with the death side only. So this gives me balance. So what I can do is I can help you um, with your shadow work to find out why you do what you do. I can help you if you're also someone that is a magical person, somebody that can do what I do. I can help you with that. But it's really to make sense of things, really to make sense of things and be the best version of yourself that you can be. Sometimes you need some help with that. I ask very hard questions, questions that people don't usually ask, with the help of messages from the ancestors, the ancestors and your ancestors, because those are two, for me, that's two different things. Your ancestors are people in your, for me, and in my belief, your ancestors are people that are, of course, your family, your friends, people that cared about you at some point, people that you come across, people that hold you in high regard, whether they're living or dead, though, because there are people that are helping you on both sides. And then the ancestors, that's the higher power for me. That's the higher power for me. I'm not a religious person. That's the higher power for me. So I don't know. I did a lot of talking. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything. Just let me know.
Oh, I have all the questions. So how long have you been able to do this?
The first time that happened to me that I can remember, I was 7 years old. I was able to tell when I can tell when somebody set a week before someone was gonna die. I knew. I was 7, and it scared me so bad that by the time I was 10, I didn't want I didn't want it anymore. Like I prayed it away because I was too young to even understand what was going on. And at that time, my mom was losing like 3 or 4 people a year from ages maybe 7 to 12 for me. So that was hard for me.
I want to agree with that experience, Norka, because I do myself has experienced similar gifts as a child. And
Mm-hmm.
they start very young. And as a child, of course, you don't understand it because you like, what is happening to me, or how did I know that, or why did I know that? And then
Mm-hmm.
you're asking even for that gift to get away from you because it scares you so bad. But the more you get to understand, of course, as your parents talk about it, like you were saying, as you understand what your parents was talking about, and according to other things that you've experienced, it builds that belief even more for yourself. I think this was really great. It helped to understand both sides.
That's great. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm able to help.
So I'm just looking at the chat here, and there's a. Oh, did I just lose it? Oh, okay. Yes, I love to see all the words of thanks. So someone says they're thinking about a good friend. Can she be an ancestor since she is? Can she be an ancestor since she is a good friend?
Absolutely. Do you know that sometimes when people have sometimes people have a choice on whether they go or leave. There are some people that leave here that because they can do more for you on the other side. They can do more for you on the other side. They can do supernatural, extraordinary things for you on the other side, where they can only provide for you. They can only provide for you a certain way here, and they will go to the other side so that they can show out for you. For lack of a better phrase.
So they like become guides.
Yes. But again, and then like I said before, remember you do have. I'm a living ancestor. I'm a living ancestor, so I'm a person because I'm a living ancestor. That's why I can do both. So I don't have to go anywhere to do anything. I don't have to depart the physical in order to help the people that I help.
So, when I do these kinds of talks, usually people may say that it helps them because they grew up and they could see things or hear things or had experiences that people did not understand. So, what are your words for them? And I see some comments on Instagram, but
Mhm.
I'll get to those in a minute. Yeah. So, what words would you say for people who've had these experiences and keep them kind of close?
So I understand why you keep them close because, like I said, this is not regular conversation. Like this is not this is not something you can bring up in regular conversation. You know what you saw, you know what you heard, and so my thing is to find people like me or me, so you can talk to things about, so you can talk to people about that because it makes it more taboo or makes you feel weird or whatever because you're having this and you don't have anybody to talk to it about. So find somebody to talk to. There are plenty of people that are this way, and that's what makes me speak out too. Because I know there are other people like me.
So, there's a comment here on Instagram. Could you speak on generational trauma and how ancestors assist in healing?
I'm so glad you asked that. Okay, so this is the thing about the ancestors, right? When you hear about the ancestors, we always think of the ones that are like the mighty ones, the strong ones, everybody that was good. We have some messed up ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Just like we have the ones that are pillars of the community, we have the ones that were whores and pimps and prostitutes, drug dealers, all kinds of horrible stuff. And when it comes to the traumas, when it comes sometimes what they do is just like, I'm sorry because I get all excited, so let me take a breath. So what happens is you have some ancestors that are pushing their trauma onto you. You would not have had it had they not pushed that onto you. You may have a female ancestor that couldn't keep a husband, that was not a good person in general, and you have the opportunity to have a great life. Like, you don't have that with you're a good person, you have blessings, you have a good person. They'll throw that at you. They'll make you think that something is wrong with you. It's like people on this side and the other side. Your people want you to be happy but not happier than them. You can be happy but you can't be happier than them. So sometimes you'll have somebody thinking, why is he or what does he or she who does he or she think she is that they can have this great life and I didn't have it. So they push that forward, like they put it on you. If you think about some of the things that you've gone through in your life, I bet if you took 3 of those things and thought about it, that ain't even yours. We carrying stuff that's not ours. We want to carry all the positive things the ancestors give, but we have to understand that it's not always a curse. Sometimes it is a curse. Sometimes it is a trauma, but a lot of the time you just have to think about whether it's yours or not. You really have to separate the two, because some of us are going through things that ain't ours. If you really, really think about it, really think about that for a minute.
That's going down the rabbit hole.
Of course, I stay down there, so.
So what do you do in those instances?
For me personally, whenever I'm receiving something like that, I literally stop what I'm doing and I got to figure it out because I don't want to carry it. I got my own stuff to carry and I'm not trying to carry anybody else's. So I have this thing where no matter what room I'm in, and if any of you have been around me, when you start talking to me, I always look to the left because for me personally, that's why I said stuff that ain't mine. Nobody told you that you got to carry all the stuff that you have. Nobody told you that. So for me, I have a space. When things feel too heavy for me, when I realize it's not mine, I just sit it in the corner. I sit it in the corner and I leave it there. Like, you have to do that. You will get so overwhelmed. The goal here is not to get overwhelmed with your own stuff and somebody else's, especially if you don't know where it's going. Coming to you don't need to know specifically who that ancestor is that's doing that to you. You just have to know that it's not yours and that you can sit it down.
So how do you sit it down?
Um, me for my again myself personally, once if well, I have on my glasses, but once I catch it, I literally just automatically look to the everybody's face will be different, but for me personally, I look up and to the left and I'm like, this is where I'm it's like playing Tetris almost for me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna sit it here. I'm gonna take it and sit it here. Or even when you're around people that are giving you negative energy, what I had to learn to do was when I felt it coming, I would just uh, send it to the ground. Like I send it into the ground. I send it to the ground. It's like you have to block it any way possible. Everybody will have different things that they'll do. That's just what I do. Everybody's gonna do it a little differently. I'm a little dramatic, so I have to do it a little differently.
So what about children who may be gifted? For parents who say that, their children keep saying, "Oh, don't you see so and so or so said this," or like, I know, children sometimes have like past life experience. They remember past lives and things like that. But
Yes.
if it's something that's consistent with a child, if a child seems to be saying, "Oh, I dreamed about something," and it happens, like, what would you tell parents to do?
What I do, because my children are gifted, and my grandchildren too, I ask questions. Like I ask them to describe what they're seeing. So I never pushed them away, and I wanted them to feel comfortable. Like my oldest daughter, like I can sense presence, but she can see it. Like she can, like I'm looking at you, she can see it. I can't see it, but I can describe it. So when she's telling me, she says, "Well, I see a lady sitting here." So I could be like, does she have red hair? The chef on a black shirt, and that's how we connected that way because I know how I felt. Like my parents did not play that up. They didn't act like something was wrong with it, but I was redirected a lot. So my goal with my children is to let them know I believe you. I believe what you're saying, and I share things with them to make them comfortable with me. Just make them feel comfortable. That's the goal for children. Like, don't scare them. They already scared, so don't scare them.
Okay, thank you. So, can you say a little bit more about what you see between realms, or what it feels like to walk between realms? Is it like going through a portal?
It depends. It depends. So, some of the ways that happens for me is you'll catch me staring off into y'all stare off into the distance. It'll be more of a sometimes it's more of a thought. Sometimes it's more of a thought. Sometimes it's a feeling. So I could be standing at the bus stop and be somewhere else completely. I'll see something else. Like something will have to happen for me to realize that I'm not where I was. So I can see different things. It's not a big difference. I would say if you're standing across from a McDonald's, it would still be McDonald's, but the people and the cars and the things would be different. There's something not well because I'm used to it. It's not eerie, but you'll realize that that's not there. Or I have times where people come to me. There are people that will walk up to me to give me messages and stuff, and they don't match the background. I had an instance where I used to work where, and my daughter was there. Um, the guy came in and he was showing me insurance information. I was working in the pharmacy, and he was telling me he was giving me all this information that he should know. But when I started looking at him, I'm like, he's dressed he was a well dressed man for the 50s. Every nothing that he had on, his hair, his wallet, his shoes, his socks, nothing matched. I think that was like 2021. Nothing matched that. And it was funny because as he realized that it was registering to me that he wasn't that we were in a different place, he walked away. He walked away. So it can be that. And like for me, I don't dream, I travel. So I go places. And then when I wake up, the way that I know that I've been traveling is that my legs tingle when I wake up. So it's like everything has come back except for my legs at that point. And so I know I've been traveling and I have to decide whether I want to go back or not. So if it's a negative place, I'll be really sleepy and it'll be hard for me to keep my eyes open and I have to fight to stay awake so I don't go back because I'm not prepared. If it makes me tired or I'm sleepy, then that's a place I don't need to. That means I went too far. But if I'm waking up and the tingling goes away and I gain the feeling in all my toes and stuff, I know that everything's okay. So it's a lot of different ways.
Oh, you met someone and the person was from here, but not from here. They were from the 50s.
Hmm. Yes. Like let me see, he was what 50s, 60s. He was dressed like just for context, he was dressed like Dr. Martin Luther King would be. He just had on dress shorts. It was so outlandish. Like if my daughter is still on here, she can tell you exactly what he looked like. He looked like he was out of the, like when he first walked up, he looked normal. But as he started telling me things about myself, he was reading me. And people cannot read me, okay? People can I'm the reader. People can't read me. And he started telling me about myself and it started registering to me. I'm like, hold on. Because first of all, who are you to be telling me stuff? Because I'm the one that I know everything. You're not supposed to know everything. And then the first thing I saw was his shoes, because they were white. They were white shoes. And I remember my dad had a pair of them shoes in his closet, but they were like tan. I'm like, hold on. Then I saw his socks. And I looked at it, they were baby blue dress shorts. And his wallet, it was an old wallet. My granddaddy had a wallet like that, you know. And I'm like, his ID was all like, it started registering. And then when he started to see that I was seeing what was happening, he just cut out. We never saw him again. You know, the questions he was asking were to throw me off long enough for him to come and tell me what he wanted to say.
Okay, I'm still wrapping my head around that one. So, because it sounds
Oh, and I've
like
seen some things.
okay, okay, because it sounds like a mixture of different people in different times in one form.
Yes. Well, you know what? It has to come to you. Had he walked up to me in that time, I would not have listened to him. I only listened to him because he was an elder and it really looked like he didn't know what he was doing. But I'm so well versed in insurances. I don't think he expected that. So that's what happened. That kind of threw him off a little bit too because he was trying to confuse me, but it didn't. You know, I caught on to it.
So kind of speaking about time, why do you think we're able to have these conversations at this particular time? Like, what is going on where, like right now in this Zoom, people are tuning in and watching, people are talking about things like this that we couldn't talk about like 10. I mean, yeah, I kept a lot of things very quiet, but people are not talking about this stuff like, 15 years ago. So in your opinion, what is happening now?
Because I chose to step into my place. It was always here. It was always here. I could keep fighting it and trying to reason with it in the flesh, reason with it fleshly. This is not a fleshy thing. It's a magical spiritual thing. I'm a magical spiritual being. Like that's who I am. And when I accept that and walk confidently in it, things flow freely. So you're not afraid. I'm not afraid. The only thing I'm afraid of is dogs and spiders. I ain't scared of nothing else. So with the things that I've seen, with the things I've seen, so I'm not afraid of anything. I will stand. I will fight a polar bear if I have to. So that's it builds your confidence and everything. It keeps people away from you too. Don't nobody want to be around me if I know where you've been, where you at now, where you going. Don't nobody want to hear that. And then your people telling on you too. Don't nobody wants to hear that.
Hmm.
Just be confident. Just be confident, and nobody can tell you what you don't know. Don't let nobody tell you what you don't see. Don't let anybody tell you that. You know what you see. You know what you see. You know what you hear. And if you open up to that, I promise you, your life will be so much better. You be talking smack just like me.
So, I'm in a lot of, different groups, and people often say, that they have experiences, but they're afraid to tell people because they think that they think that there's something wrong with them. Like I mentioned, I knew a brother who was shot in the face twice and had a fascinating, unbelievable afterlife experience. And when he came to New York to tell his story, some other people said, "Yeah, that happened to me too." But
Mhm.
people don't share. People don't share these things that happen. So, what kind of, I mean, what words would you say for them to not be afraid? And as people say there's something wrong, or you need to go to the church or things like that. So, what would you say to
Mhm.
that?
What I would say is that whatever whoever you believe in, ask them to send your people to you, send you to your people, put you in places like this, to put you in places like this where you can tell your story, because that's what most people, that's all people need. People are walking around with all kinds of things bottled up inside of them, and they don't even know that other people are having these experiences. So you find those people. Again, I'm one of those people that you can tell that stuff to. You can tell me anything. You can tell me anything, and I'm listening to you, because I believe people don't walk around talking about this stuff, lying about it. They don't. It changes you. Like, when you can have some you the way that I'm the same all the time. But you have people that are a certain way daily, but when they start talking about this stuff, they become somebody else. You see? And so you need to find somebody that you can be yourself all the time with. Find those people. Don't, and I can't tell you not to be afraid. I can't tell you not to be afraid, because the people are afraid. I was raised differently. My daddy's like, don't be afraid of anything you can see, and if you can't see it, start shooting, you'll hit it. That's how I was raised. So that's how I was raised.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that
I
again.
was
Say that again. He said
he
what?
said don't be afraid of anything you can see, and if you can't see it, start shooting, because you'll hit it eventually. And I was
Mm,
raised like that. I was raised that way. Everybody's not raised like that. But there's no need to be afraid. You know what you see.
that part. Sorry, Miss Toya, you want to say something?
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
My cuz.
Oh, okay, okay. This is just awesome. Awesome. So, Ms. Norka, what are some of the things that you do for people? Like, yeah, like you said, people can come and talk to you. What are some of the things you can do for people?
So what I can do for you is that we can find out where it comes from. We can find out why you have it and what you need to do with it. Because some people I've had it my whole life. Some people won't have it their whole life. You know, there's like I said with the death doula thing, for me it wasn't dormant. Like, it came when I was 7 and left when I was 10. It came back when I was 42, and then it went away again when I turned 49. So you just need to know things may happen to where you need to use it. Like, for example, I hope my daughter does not mind, but my oldest granddaughter Elia, she was diagnosed with leukemia, right, like 2 days after her third birthday. And the Saturday, if she found out on a Monday, the Saturday before, I was led to go to the water. I just kept hearing, take it to the water, take it to the water. And here in Chicago, my favorite place to go is was behind the Shade Aquarium. I'm allergic to seafoods, of fish, so I can't go in there. But sitting behind it was my space. So I went out there. I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning on that Saturday. I was sitting there like, I don't know what y'all want me to do or why I'm out here so early. I don't know when I'm supposed to leave here, but whatever it is, I'm gonna leave it here. And I sat there for like 3 hours. I couldn't move until I felt like whatever I had to give was in that water. And it was there, and I went home. And the Tuesday, we found out that she had leukemia. Now, because of our prior history, family history, with people that didn't make it, of course, I'm very concerned. I'm concerned in general. It's horrible for your child to go through something that you can't control physically, but to have your grandchild and your child have to go through that, that's really something. And then for me to feel like and be assigned as the backbone to everything, I got to keep it together, because if I don't have it together, ain't nobody got it together. So, so I went through that thing there, and it was so many things that happened after that that let me see that it was going to be okay. I never let, and I don't let anybody. We appreciate prayers. I don't want to hear anything negative. If you see my granddaughter, she's the most beautiful, bright-eyed, happiest thing that you could ever meet. Okay, and my mother, I was seeing her. My daddy. There was a time this past year. My dad found out. He didn't tell us, but he found out that the cancer had spread everywhere, like July 14th of 2015. On July 14th of last year, that was Elia's appointment where she had to get a scan. I was terrified. Do you understand me? But when I was on my way to work, I heard these last $2. That was my daddy's song. And I heard it. And he communicates with me through music. So when I hear Johnny Taylor and all these things, I know that he's there and he's letting me know that it's okay. So I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. but that was just something that's just something I wanted to share.
So in your family, so this kind of runs in your family. Your dad did this kind of work also, and they taught you, and it was also with your grandparents as well.
So this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that it comes a lot from my dad's side of the family. It's not something that's talked about, and he didn't talk about it. But when I started sleepwalking as a little girl and talking in my sleep, that's when he started taking me outside at night, showing me about the stars, learning about the moon, the dirt. Go put your feet in the dirt. Put your feet in the dirt. Let's go back. Like, he used to go fishing, and in 42 years that I was living, my daddy never caught a fish. And I'm like, why are you going fishing? You don't catch fish? He said, because I'm taking stuff to the water. This is my comfort place. And so he was showing me what to do now. Then he built my confidence for me not to be scared of nothing, because he knew I was always different. I never fit in anywhere. So he made sure I needed to be secure in myself, because I was so different and didn't know why I was different. I didn't know I was different, and he couldn't tell me why I was different. He would tell me, the things that you are asking me are for certain people, and you ain't certain people yet. When you become certain people, you'll know. And I became certain people after they passed away. There's no way that I'd be doing this. And I'm just, okay. There's no way that I would be this advanced in my gift if my parents are still here, because they always tried to protect me from this part of myself, because they didn't know what to do with me because of the things that I was seeing and doing. They didn't know what to do with me.
Hmm.
So they
And
knew that you had gifts, but they wanted to protect you.
Yeah, because this is a lot of responsibility. You guys have no
Mhm.
idea how sometimes I'm like, I don't even want this no more. Like, ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know none of this stuff no more. I don't care what my great grandma times seven was I don't want to hear nothing y'all saying to me. I want to be normal. I want to be regular. I don't want to hear this stuff. I don't want these gifts. I want to be like everybody else. Like, I'm always at a heightened sense. I'm always in fight or flight mode, because I know what's coming already. And that's very
Mhm.
hard when you have children and things, because I could be like, don't do that because this is happening. If I tell them that, A, they're your kids, they're not going to listen. B,
Mhm.
if you don't let them experience it, it's going to be hard for them. So
Mhm.
my parents prepared, let me go through things and prepare me for stuff for now, and I have to do the same thing for my children, so that they'll know what to do. Like, I'm preparing a pair of shoes for them. I'm crafting shoes for them, so when I'm not able to help them or I'm not around, they'll know what to do. They won't. I don't have any questions about anything, because my parents answered them for me unconsciously when I was growing up.
Um, I just wanted to check in with everyone. Does anyone have any comments or any questions that they want to say? I know I've got some questions here on Facebook, but I just wanted to ask if anyone here had any questions.
Oh,
I don't know. It's kind of the same because we're related. You can tell by the nose of the glasses. And it's kind of the same thing. You run into people with different walks of life, and at times you really don't know like how different experiences shape you and different things. But like what she's saying is true. Um, I tell you this, she didn't like to wear shoes. And I mean, it's kind of like you are, I don't wear shoes now. Uh so it's kind of like your feet have to be connected to the soil. It has to be a connection so that you can feel everything. And it's like it's a feeling like what's gonna happen, and that's scary in itself. So a lot of times you don't want to say, well, this is what's gonna happen, or you don't want to be that person because you don't want them to look at you like, first of all, how do you know that? Second of all, where do you come off telling me this? And then third of all, like, who cares? Some people don't want to tap in to that higher frequency because I just had a conversation with my son today, and I let him know like it's full circle with your kids, and that's just like how we were raised. And we are spiritual beings living our human existence. You're not human first, you're spirit first. And then if you
Mhm.
understand that you're your human experience, then it'll teach you to be more, empathetic with people. You will have an understanding with where people are in life because not everybody are in the same spaces in life, but it teaches you to be humble and to just be giving. And sometimes having gifts, you don't want them. Like she said, I know I don't want them. And oftentimes I have to revert from giving too much because when you care a lot and you love a lot, the way we were raised having cookouts. We were raised at each other's houses. We spent the night with each other. We had those interactions. We prayed with each other. We they cursed each other out. They had fun. They had, all those times, but it still brings you back ultimately to family. So at the end of the day, that's the connection. And you have to say something, to just have that connection. And I think it's important, and don't ever not say something because you think it's gonna, have somebody look at you a certain way or whatever the case may be, because you have to be obedient. And if God wants you to speak up, and it could be uncomfortable, you have to, because you never know what message may be sent to bring forth. So I just think that's important. If you have something to say, speak up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no problem.
So I know I have some comments here on Facebook, and I just appreciate all the little hearts and everything I'm seeing here. Someone is asking, so how do you overcome like the fear when you like want to say your experiences? Like, how do you overcome the fear? That's a question that's here.
You don't overcome the fear. You don't. I'm scared to tell all the time. I'm terrified all the time. I don't know what I'm gonna see. Sometimes I'm afraid to look behind me. I know what I'm gonna see. You don't get over it. You just do it scared. You just do it. You're gonna have to do it. So either you scared and you have it all in your head with headaches and it affecting your body systems, or you just find somebody to share. But you're gonna be scared. Don't let nobody tell you any. So it's more of the I think it's more, well, I won't say scared for myself personally. It's more of how people gonna receive you. How are people gonna receive you? How are people gonna receive you? Again, it's very important that you just learn who your people are, and know that a lot of the time your people may not be your people may not be your family. When I posted this, I didn't expect a large reception. I didn't expect a large reception, behind this, because the way that I carry myself in general is different than other people do, you know, and because I'm so free with it, so free with these things like that, people are not comfortable with your freedom. But I'm not gonna keep myself caged in because you got a problem. That's personal.
That part. But I see why when as people get older, I see why they are so free with their words and how they feel, because as you get older, and it's true, like I was telling my daughter, do not be afraid to say what you have to say, because when you don't say it and your voice and your chakra becomes stifled, then you think about that all day. That takes over, and you're like, I should have said this, I should have said that, I should have said this, and but how are they going to receive me? That's the whole point of being, received.
And I wanted to say something else too. And if any of you have talked to me personally, you know that I'm like, hey, when your head is hurting, you got a lot on your mind that you need to let out. When your stomach is hurting, you can't stomach the situation. When your vision is blurry, you're refusing to see what's in front of you. If your back is hurting, you carrying too much. If your legs and your feet are hurting, it's because you're refusing to take a step and you're supposed to make a move. So please don't make yourself suffer. Don't suffer. Like, move. You have to move. What I tell my children is that if you don't make a choice will be made for you, and you will not like it, guaranteed.
Mhm. Guaranteed. That is so true.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I see, do it scared or be forced to do it while you're scared, or be forced to do it while you're scared. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you keep it inside, it does cause more problems. So yeah, I was asking you, what are some, I guess for lack of a better word, services or things that you can offer people, that you can provide for people?
Oh, that's who you are. My bad. So okay, so it's hard for me. It's hard for me to put in words what I do. Um, before I got to this space, I would say I'm a healer because I do natural things, right? Um, I'm a reader and I'm a seer. So if you're working with me, it's more along the lines of I want to. It's hard to put in. I guess more spiritual counseling. I'm gonna say, like, my goal is not to heal you because you have everything that you need already. It's like my goal to help you find in yourself what you need, because you don't have to look outward for anything. So I go with you into the unknown to make it clear. I consider myself dark, and I know people don't like when I say that because everybody wants you to be light. I'm dark and I'm happy with it. I'm secure in it because I reside in the dark all the time. I can see things that you cannot. If you're used to being in the light all the time, when you go through a dark moment, you can't see nothing. But if I'm down there, my eyes are adjusted to it, and I can help you navigate. I remember when I was going through my divorce and stuff, I was stressed out, and my mom would say, I haven't been through what you've been through, because they're married for like 50 years. But she would say, I haven't been through what you've been through, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. I never talked back to my parents because I did not want it with them. But what I did say to her was, I was like, if you've been through the tunnel, why didn't you leave a flashlight for me so I could see? Like, why would you let me go through this and you know that it's hard? So she didn't knock me out as she should have. But what I decided to do from that day forward is I'm going to give you a flashlight and I'm going with you. So that's what I want you to do. You don't have to navigate through the dark by yourself. I don't believe in like with me, I'll be 50 in July. And I'm not, and going through perimenopause and stuff is so hard. The emotions and the body and all the changes that you go through, It makes you think you're going crazy, blind, you got cancer, you about to die when you cough, all these things. And our mothers didn't tell us that because it's like we're supposed to suffer. I'm telling everything because I don't want my daughters to feel that way. I don't want women my age to feel that we have to share. And so that's what I want to do. Like I want to help you I help you navigate in the dark. That's what I do.
Can you explain what you mean by dark?
Um Dark mean, well, for some people dark is unknown. For some people, being in the dark is going through a hard time. Entering a new phase in your life. Like for me, I left home when I got married and went to Germany when I was 28 years old. That was new. That was new for me. I left everything I knew, went 4,500 miles away. You know, that was a dark time for me. You know, just the unknown things that hurt, and then one thing that I strongly dislike is for people to act like a traumatic experience was not traumatic. There are some things that happen that everybody is not traumatized by. Like if you ask me the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life, I would not say it was my parents passing away. When for somebody else that's devastating because I lost my parents 7 months apart. That's not the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. So I'm not so. But what I mean is it's other stuff like things are traumatic and you don't win an award for acting like you didn't go through it. There are always you lose something all the time. We have to lose to gain. We have to lose to gain at the end of the day. And it hurts because there are things that we don't want to let go of. As sure as we are born, we are going to die. As everything is temporary. Your life, this wig, our pants, the food, everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. And I think that's very important. I think that's very important.
So you said being in the dark. So that's like like when people what's the term, is spiritual bypassing, like everything is just love and light, like love everything away. Like, no, that doesn't always work. So you're saying that we need to definitely balance that and be like in the dark and what they call like quote unquote like negative emotions and stuff.
Right. You have some people that are all light, okay? There are some people that are all light. There are some people that are all dark, and you have people that balance, okay? You have that. Again, the darkness could be anything. It's custom to who you are. Because like I said, the worst thing that happened to you may be a broken leg. The worst thing that happened to me could be like my house blew up or something, you know. So it's just subjective. It's different for everybody. And I think that if we stop comparing that kind of stuff, I think we'd be better off because again, your trauma may not be mine. The worst thing that happened to you may not be the worst thing that happened to me. We process it differently. Cause like I'm not empathetic, like I have no empathy. So my experiences are good. My experiences are going to be different than yours.
Okay, okay, thank you for that. Um, okay, I think I just have like I guess two more things that I was thinking about. When so as a seer, what does that mean to be a seer?
I can look at people sometimes and I can tell something that happened with you that changed the course of your life. I can see that. I can look at you and I can tell where you're stuck and what you need to do to move forward. Now it's up to the ancestors whether I share that with you or not. It's a struggle because I be wanting to tell everything, but I'm not able to. But that's a for me personally. That's a seer part for me. I can see right through most people. That's a blessing and a curse because I don't get angry or remain angry long because I can see every side to every situation. That's real frustrating when you want to be upset with somebody, but you can see where they're coming from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I think okay, I see oh, okay, someone had I guess I didn't see this earlier. So someone had said my son used to see what he said was dead people since he was about 10 until since he was 2 until about 10, and now he's 26. And I just asked him about it. He said he doesn't really dream because he smokes. Could it be dormant? Could he talk to someone now because he didn't understand his parents? We didn't know either.
So he's smoking to keep it away. That's keeping it away. Like he doesn't have to think about it. He doesn't have to think about it. Like people, that's why a lot of people are smoking and drinking and stuff these days
Hmm.
because they're trying to shut it out. They're trying to shut. It's scary, and then like she's saying, if it's one thing when the parents understand what's happening. It's another thing completely when they don't. And the only way that he'll be able, he gonna have to deal with it. Okay, by the time he's 40, he's gonna have to deal with it. It's gonna come back. It's gonna get louder and louder and become more and more present. Where it's a thought now, it will like that man showed up to me in my job. It'll show up in your face, and then what are you gonna do then? So what you would do is, if he's open, so you can ask, you can sit down, and when you meditate or pray or whatever, you just ask for him to become open to it, to present people, even me, to present somebody, because he needs to share. He needs to share, because if the parents don't understand, it makes the child less, or looking like they don't understand, it makes the child less not share. He's seeing people that have messages. Like these are people that have messages, and people, they need to cross over. Like he needed to be told that they don't. It's like a man in particular that he needed to go. Like he needed to go. He needed to go. Yeah. So that's what he's saying, and it's loud, and he can see them very well. Like the way that he looks at you, he can see them like that. So it's not a shadow or an apparition. Like he's seeing them as if they're present. And I do that too when I'm talking to you. If I get something, I'll give it
That's
to you.
amazing. That is just amazing to be able to be tuned into that frequency.
Mhm.
Okay, and
And
before
hug him. He needs a hug. Give him a hug, a real one. Even if he fights you, he needs it. Okay.
okay,
Okay. Okay.
uh, what what about astral? Do you ever have astral projection or out of body experiences?
Yeah. Okay. So the astral projection is different from others. Like I cannot control it. I can't control it. Now there will be times when I'm laying down. If I'm really, really tired, I can feel myself lifted up. It's always for me. It's always my legs. So I can feel it's like my legs. Another thing too, if you ever had a dream that you were on a cliff and you fell and you hit the bed, you were traveling. Like you cut. That's you coming back into your body. You caught yourself before you could go anywhere, and you came back into your body. That's what that is. So a lot of people have that, and you'll get to the point where sometimes you're not even daydreaming, you're traveling. If you having whole experiences to where when you snap out of your daydream, you got to realize where you are. You were not daydreaming, honey. You were traveling.
Yeah, I fully believe that, and I wake up sometimes, and it takes me a minute to get
Yes,
reoriented.
yes. Just discombobulated. Yes, for sure.
Okay. Okay, all right. So how can people find you? Where can they locate you? Because the viewers and the people who watching the replay, so I know that's a question that's going to come up. How can they get in touch with you?
Okay, so my professional page is public on Facebook, and that's Norka Arrington, right? Um, I just reactivated my Instagram page. I don't even remember the name. It's in the link though. You can do that. But most likely, just message me on Facebook. Like I answer, I'm as available as I can possibly be. And before you contact me, I don't sugarcoat a thing, honey. So you may get angry with me if I ask you a question or something. It's part me. Let's see, it's 80% ancestor and then just Norka by herself because Norka is a handful on her own. So but if you want to do the help, I'm patient. If you really want to go through things with me, it could take about 2 or 3 months for you to see a significant difference. When you're doing this with me, this is like shadow work, right? It gets real dark, it gets real ugly. Um, when people do shadow work, they talk about how other people contributed to what they've done and who they are. But wait until you get to what you're doing to contribute to it too. So I'm a mirror. I'm gonna show you who you are. So contact if you want to do that part with me, that's fine. I do dreams too. I help you. I help you with dreams. There are a lot. The ancestors have given me a lot of gifts. So however I can help you, I will. Just ask me anything. I'm always open. I answer every question. So I'm here.
So, what would be the difference between ancestors and your spirit guides who work with you?
You know what? I don't consider myself working with any spirit guys. Like I don't. There's no middleman for me. I'm back there with the big dogs. I'm sitting in between them. So they giving it to me and I'm giving it to you. There's nothing in the middle for me. Other people have spirit guides and that's cool. I do not. Like I am chosen, honey. I am the one. So they come directly to me. I'm a living ancestor, so I don't have to do what other people have to do. I don't have to when I do my conjuring, I don't have to touch anything unless I want to. Like this right here, this is my plant. And I don't have this here because I want a plant in my office. I have a plant here because of the dirt. So if I'm feeling like I need to help you because something is wrong, I will flip this dirt over here and I will put hell on earth if I have to. I ground when I need to, and that's why that's there. So that's the only thing I touch. Anything else I do for you, I have been so blessed as to not have to do anything. It's all right here.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do you have any classes or workshops or any books that are coming up?
Yes, what I'm actually doing is I want to work on this thing where I like to do it in person, but I think I'll do it like maybe Facebook Live or YouTube. It's gonna be like a sip. You know how you do the paint and sips and stuff. This is gonna be an and sip. So the first thing I'm gonna do is coming up. I would do a heal and sip. So we're gonna whatever you drink, have that on deck, and we'll sit there and we'll go through that. A healing sip, a grieving sip, whatever it is. So that was something I would do. I'm working on a book, but I'm such a perfectionist. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I've been working on the book for quite some time. I do have a book on Amazon, but it's not I would just send you that. I wouldn't have you pay for that because that was written at the very beginning and it was just me trying to figure stuff out. Just me trying to figure stuff out. So if you wanted to see that, I could send that to you and you can compare where I started to where I am now. If you just if that's something that you want to see.
Yeah, I definitely believe that stories heal. I have so many people been joining. I'm joining the Instagram. Just reintroduce yourself for the people who've been joining.
Okay.
Could you do that,
So
please?
okay. So my name is Norka Arrington Johnsons because I have two Arringtons and two Johnsons. Um I am a death doula, a dormant death doula, and I'm a mind, body, soul practitioner. I'm a conjurer, a living ancestor, and every other thing you can think of. And I'm just here to help everybody heal.
Okay, and I read somebody on Facebook said they want your book and like yeah, ditto, ditto.
Okay, so listen.
Okay.
Okay, so the name of the book is As Above, So Below.
Mhm.
And the cover, I think the cover is like black and pink. If you inbox me, I'll just send you what I have. You don't have to buy it because I don't. I would rather you, if you want to have a donation or something, I'd rather for it to be something now than rather when I started. You know.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I barter. So if I provide any services for you, honey, I like sandwiches, wine, chips, plant seeds, stuff like that. You know, we can work it out. Like it's not, you know. Now if we get into the deep stuff, that'll be something. But yeah, you know,
So
I'm easy to please.
so you would say you do all the clairs and like mediumship. So all the clairs,
Yes,
the clairaudience, the clairsentience, and the mediumship.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Great. And where are you located?
I'm in Chicago. I'm in
Oh
Chicago,
yeah.
South Side.
Okay. Okay, we're hoping you were a little bit closer to New York, but okay. Okay, okay. I see. Does anyone watching have any other questions or comments? I was so looking forward to this, and this has just been great because just in the conversation I've had with you, it's been like I want to hear so much more about your story because you had such powerful insight.
Thank you.
Okay, okay. All right, so I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you 100 times for being here. I know that your story reached many people, and I definitely hope that it was helpful for people. So thank you again. For everyone watching, for everyone who came to support Miss Norca, my name is Abina. I'm also known as Bronx Holistic Healing. And Transformation Thursday is a holistic series that started in 2020 when people were asking if I was doing an event. And I said, well, everything's closed. And one day I was home and I heard Transformation Thursday. Like, okay. And then I heard it again. It came to me again. I said, okay, let me be obedient because I don't want that spanking when you don't when you don't listen. So it wasn't Transformation Tuesday or Wellness Wednesday, it was Transformation Thursday. And I started that in November of 2020. And this was week 167. And just always amazed that I found not even 10 or 50, but like over 150 people willing to speak on holistic and metaphysical topics, and particularly people who look like us as well. So thank you. This happens every Thursday. 7-ish. I don't know, 7:20, 7:30. Just one tree. Just follow me on Instagram at Bronx Holistic Healing, or continue to follow me on Facebook. I'm Abina Anum Bronx. Miss Norca, I'm gonna message you when we're done, and the replay is gonna be on Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel. I've been uploading all the sessions on the YouTube. So the YouTube channel is Bronx Holistic Healing. So give me a day or two, and this will be on the YouTube as well for everyone to see. Yes. And it's going to permanently be on my Bronx Holistic Healing Instagram page as well. Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Norca, Miss Latoya, and everyone who came to support. And in closing, I always like to say, if no one has told you, remember that you are a spark of the divine. All right. Good night. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.